Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get our demon faces out.
How now, brown
New
cow?
York.
Unique New York.
Sally and some seashells. Scotch. I can do that sound check.
Yum, yum, yum. Down in my belly. All right. Are we recording already?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We got
I'm
all
so
that.
confused.
We got
Welcome
all that.
to a special edition of the LOVESOUL podcast. We are going to talk about Aries season 2022 with my good friend Gracey. Dem planets.
Yes.
Nice.
You did it. I
I'm
don't
like,
think it's too hard to pronounce, right?
No. Dem planets. I'm gonna say the damn planets. But here we are. We were just talking about how Aries season is going to be much like the Hunger Games. So
Don't freak out.
yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be a little bit intense this year.
Yeah. And Gracey's one of my favorite Aries, so we had to have her on the show for this, for sure.
You even told me, you're going back to your red hair. It's the most Aries thing in the world. I'm like, yeah, maybe it is a little bit.
Yeah. So we have to show that off.
Absolutely. And I've never really felt like an Aries, I feel like, because I've had so much Pisces influence in my chart. And it's been a little bit strange understanding that I do have all that Pisces. And with it comes Virgo, because you just have that opposite energy. And with the Aries also comes Libra. So I feel like we have a lot of complementary energy with our charts.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. For sure. And this Aries season, because it is kind of explosive, is really the way that I want to put it. And the funny thing is as I say that, it could actually be less explosive if you're prepared.
Yes. Which is what we're here for.
Yeah, which is what we want to help you do. I think the biggest thing is not paying attention to other people.
That's the weird axis that we've been on. It's like this, are we going to be selfish? Are we going to pay attention to our own needs? Are we looking at the collective? And right now, it's hard to ignore the collective because they're screaming and fighting and just, it's chaos, a lot of the different areas. But there's also pockets of the collective that are really calm and really serene and feel like home.
Yeah, and feel like they're just trying to find their voice, find their community. There was so much talk about community. And I'm not surprised with the Saturn in Aquarius that's happening. There's so much talk.
We have to address this now.
We have to talk about the community. Well, and the funny thing is because everybody is really stressed out about being in community right now. And I think it's because we've been divided for so long in everything that's happened. And, Aquarius, as much as it wants to unite, I don't know. It's hard because there's so much capitalism we're coming out of. And I honestly don't think that the right communities, there's going to be a lot of this pushing and pulling, and the right communities aren't really going to come around until Pluto makes his way into Aquarius.
And I want to say that it's going to be easier with Pluto and Aquarius, but I think we're going to have to transform our communities, because right now, the raggedy ass astrology community that I've seen, I'm coming for you guys. Like the fighting, the bickering, the who's more in need of support and love. We all are.
Yeah.
And when people get territorial and kind of preachy about, well, the mainstream people are now learning about astrology, isn't that a good thing?
I would hope so.
Now we can be a little bit more empathetic and understand why we are the way we are, and start using it as a tool to help instead of divide.
Right. And we can help the mainstream to understand what astrology really is. And it's not just the sun signs that was born in the 70s. Hello, Aries and Chiron.
Yes.
Can we just change our point of view?
The paint colors have changed.
Yeah.
Everything has changed since then. We have to move on.
That's Aries wants you to change your point of view, and Chiron is going to heal you to do it. So,
absolutely.
But that's the thing is, everybody is screaming for a voice right now, and everybody's screaming for community right now. And there's, we have to bring it up. There's this terrible thing that's going on. I just goosebumps all over as I even say the words. I don't even like to talk about it. Everybody knows that I don't like to talk politics, but this is people. This is real life. It's not just politics. And Aries season is going to amplify I think a lot of what's going
Absolutely.
on. I was kind of hoping that Jupiter conjunct Neptune, which is going to be happening pretty soon in Pisces, that would be like the peace talks. There are a couple of transits that have happened already that I was really hoping would be peace talks, and they like started to, or like, you know, Putin maybe like had a little bit of a, you know, pulling back at one point, or like letting people leave. And so those transits were very small, peaceful, and it was all a big joke. And, you know, they were, you know, so I was really hoping, but I think it might actually be more of an illusion. I think that.
Absolutely. I'm very like conflicted, just like you are. I love talking politics, but what happens when I talk politics is usually some sort of division or anger happens, or I put myself in a almost like a catatonic state of existing when I'm focusing on all the things that have gone wrong because people cannot unite. And that's what it is. Like, we wouldn't be having wars. We wouldn't be having these struggles. NATO is a huge problem. They're actually meeting under one of the most difficult and stressful transits they possibly could on March 24th. So I'm not really hopeful with any sort of peace talks or anything like that. But when you have moon square Mercury, moon square everything in that very same moment, you're looking at a lot of judgment mixed with mindset, mixed with a lot of things that have been instilled. And that was kind of around like what I was thinking about the global politics, is if we could all kind of come together and understand that it's not us versus another country. It's all of us understanding how we can dissolve these really awful institutions that have kind of taken over our planet. Like, no one put us on this planet to work. And take over.
Well, no, but
and, like,
what I
these like involvements.
You're absolutely right. And what I love about what Pluto is doing right now, though, even though we do have that Mercury square Pluto during those really fun NATO talks, what I really love what Pluto is doing right now is showing where the structures need to be broken down. Pluto and Capricorn could only do that. And it wasn't just, it hasn't even been just since 2020. We've been watching these structures fall for, when did he get there? Well, I know that Neptune was in Pisces in 2012.
Right.
And my brain just lost.
No, it's okay.
But because, but it was soon after. It was, or even before that. 2012.
Pluto went into Capricorn. Is that what? That was 2008.
Yeah. 2008.
Yeah, because I was like, are we talking Neptune?
No,
here, I'm focusing on like, yes, the exact time that I remember my life going to shit.
But that's what I was trying to think of. No, seriously. I was trying to think of those moments in my life where the structure started falling apart. And that Neptune and Pisces, of course, that that really was a structure falling apart moment. And I think it's funny how I mix those two up.
Well, they're very powerful together. Like, extremely. I mean, those are it's the delusion of power and the actual transformation of power that I think.
Yeah, Neptune, and the sextile that they've been working together through all of this.
Whenever I think Neptune, I think of Poseidon. I'm like, who is more delusional than Poseidon? Oh, yeah. He was very powerful, but the ocean was powerful. It wasn't Poseidon. He could control it, whatever, but Neptune tries to control what they can, and Neptune-based people may have delusions of what they're good at and bad at. And it's like, when you don't know what your strengths are, how are you even going to address your weaknesses too?
Right, exactly.
And so that Neptune's a lot of like what's not really serving us anymore, I feel like too.
Oh,
but Pluto really has been in Capricorn long enough for me to be looking forward to the Aquarius movement. That's not till March 2023. But March has always been such a...
But that's only a year from now.
I know. And you guys have probably been like, because I just jumped into the astrology game a few years ago when I went through a lot of health crises and just life crises. And I'm like, why is this happening? And I feel like a lot of people are coming to that time right now too. With this kind of energy, with so much Pisces heavy energy, people are looking for answers like never before. And a lot of it doesn't really come from media consumption. You can't find why you feel this way about certain things from, I don't know, you can't just take a personality test. There's no Myers-Briggs for this. You can look at astrology and really help yourself go to those depths. And I think that's what, the beauty of it is.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what you're great at. And I feel like I'm like over here, like, let's talk about global strategy while we're here. No.
Well, it's so interesting that you say all of that. And yes, the Pluto move going into Aquarius, it's just really touching the surface though next year. It's doing the Jupiter dance is what I've called it. But yeah, just really touching the surface. And I feel like the change more that's going to happen is when Pluto's at the anaretic degree of 29. So I think that's probably, I mean, I hate to talk about dystopian, type future things, but I could really see a lot of destruction happening in between now and 2023. It's already, you can already see it.
It's in motion. I think, we've seen down to daylight savings time.
I know.
They're now admitting that we can make laws whether or not time exists. Like, they're basically saying, like, hey, we're going to just go ahead and make this time permanent. So now no one has to move their clock. So they're literally doing a father time transit.
Yeah. Oh, Saturn's not going to be real happy about
Saturn's
that.
going to be pissed. I think when Saturn leaves Aquarius, it's going to be like, look.
And I know exactly. I was going to say, like, Saturn's not going to be so nice when he's in Pisces.
No,
he really, really is.
Because Pisces is the death of things, and like Aries brings in this life energy and this birth energy. But with birth comes a lot of ignorance, because you got to start all back over from the very beginning, not like someone who started over a lot. But yes, I have. And rewriting your own values is what this time is about. What better to do it with these Pisces energy transits with huge Neptune,
right?
And I think the North Node being in a little bit more of a depth, or Taurus, and the South Node being in Scorpio, brings a huge depth to this season and this time more than usual.
Excuse me. It's interesting because between the 17th and the 2nd of April, Neptune is going to be sextile the North Node and trine the South Node. And that's going to be, like, we think that there have been scammers and illusion and people taking advantage of people already. Like, it's
just wait.
Yeah, it's going to, seriously, because it's not even that there are going to be more scammers. It's that there are more people to be susceptible of it because they don't know who they are. There's no truth that they're rooted in. And Neptune takes things away from you, right? And so the truth that the collective is trying to find and just like grasp through the night, Neptune is just like, haha, let me just put that blinder.
I see a lot of like religious leaders falling apart in this transit. Like, a lot of Joel Osteen, like, he was already hiding money in the walls, and they found that out like a few months ago. I was like, all right,
very Ozarks.
Yeah, very like, okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and like have this going on, and no one mentions it. Like, okay, I'm like, I see a lot of those institutions that may or may not have been taking advantage of other people or preying upon people that might not have that much, but they're still taking.
Right. Well, and that's one of the things I think I even saw on Twitter earlier today, that like somebody said, real community is not about making all the money. That's that capitalism community that we're all like searching for. Real community is about like making a community where we're all like symbiotic, like working together and using all of our gifts and what we have to be able to better each other's lives, which is what community is supposed to be. But because capitalism came in and told us all we needed to work,
you have to get off your ass and you have to fucking work. Okay? You have to go fucking work. And your face doesn't move, but your body is supposed to. Like, what? I have a lot of questions about that. But no, why do we have to have all this stuff around?
Isn't
like,
she a Pisces rising though, too?
I think she
might be, or her sister is.
There's something chaotic with the entire family. There could be an entire episode.
We could really do an entire episode on them anyway.
No.
And the Aries sister, Courtney.
Yes.
She just has her own.
I love her because she's like, I don't
really
want to be a part of this.
No, she really doesn't have anything to do with
my life is private. And when you've had like your life be so public for so long and you get to reclaim that privacy, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Oh, huge. Yeah.
So if I'm going to support anyone, it's like the chick that has a line of poosh. Like, really? That's what, like, that's your brand? That's what you work so hard for? All right, whatever. I've had some questionable companies, but none that strange. A lifestyle brand is just so assumptive that people want to, like, follow your lifestyle, too. So
it really is. And, we honestly could go an entire episode.
We really could.
Talking about them, but I don't want to do that today. No, but what I do want to talk about is, we could go week to week, but really,
like, kicking off is just so soon. It's like,
it really is. It's starting on Sunday. Like, we're doing this on the 16th.
Yeah, under the Virgo full moon.
It
started.
So first of all, let's just start there.
Yes.
So the Virgo full moon before we get to Aries season is basically the last cleanup. Clean up on aisle 5. Because the mother's going to be cleaning it up on aisle 5 when the kid pukes all over aisle 5.
Yeah, that's basically this moon.
Yep. That's what this moon is.
Kid puking in aisle 5. That's the most Virgo sounding thing in the world too. You're stressed out at the grocery store.
I literally had a flashback. I had a flashback
See,
while I was saying
there's
that.
reasons why this stuff comes out.
But yeah, no. So the sun goes into Aries on Sunday, and immediately we have Mars in Aquarius working with Chiron in Aries and Mercury with Jupiter. Mm-hmm. So everybody's going to be real chatty.
And that might be really draining because it's like this new type of chatter. It's not just like the typical.
No, and it's going to be such a jerking motion when the sun goes into Aries Sunday night. It's going to be such a jerking motion because the spicy season has really been just one big illusion. Mm-hmm. And now we're sort of being faced with reality. Like, all right, so now it's time to pull my bootstraps back up, and now I got to get going. And that first week is going to be kind of like coming right out the gate. So
it's the new year.
And Mercury conjunct Neptune in Pisces at the 23rd degree, which is the Neptune degree. So illusion on top of illusion on top of illusion. I'm actually seeing that okay, so I know that we're not all supposed to be listening to the Matrix and the media anyways, but they're really going to go hard. Mm-hmm. I feel like as we get to the end of March,
huge
they're really going to go hard.
Absolutely.
Huge, big. I saw a video even coming out of Ukraine that supposedly brought the U.S. Congress to tears. Like we're going hard for people. And it's going to be in both ways. It's going to be fighting for it, and it's going to be fighting, and telling a whole bunch of lies about it too. So should be beginning of Aries season is going to be really interesting. And then we get into the second week of Aries season. Venus conjunct Saturn.
That sounds so awful. I'm over here like very Saturn dominant, and when I think of Venus, it's so light and it's this breath of fresh air.
Okay, so let me let you in on some Venus.
I'm a Taurus Venus, so
I'm ruled by Venus, and my Venus is in the 12th house. Let me tell you about the bitch.
Here we go. We're gonna get all of it.
No, really, no. She can really be a breath of fresh air. She really can be. I don't think she's going to be, she's in Aquarius.
Not right now, though.
No, because Venus is, when she's not happy, she can ruin things. Like, she can really be, in big, big ways, ruin things. And she just got out of the relationship with Mars again. Do you remember the relationship between Mars and Mars? Okay.
Yes.
We're all adults here. Yeah, so she just broke away from Mars, and she's just now finding her freedom. And Aquarius is also very freedom oriented. So I think Venus conjunct Saturn is going to be having us look at the relationships that we have with ourselves when it comes to the community that we're in.
Like how we show up for it, how we kind of appear, how we work through it.
Yeah.
I feel that.
And what I'm afraid of is this Venus conjunct Saturn is actually going to be a little bit more divisive than it is bringing people together. Now, Venus is about justice. And when people want you to believe in what they believe, they're going to sit there and they're going to tell you and tell you and tell you. So, yeah. So, and everybody thinks that they're right. Mm-hmm. And going into Aries season, it's going to be everybody thinks they're right.
Aries season, just trying to put it with Aquarius energy. Like, I've always kind of been that person that has not shied away from Aquarius at all. But when I go through it, I feel Aquarius is more of an isolating type of energy. But I don't feel like that's going to be the case in Aries season this year. I feel like there's going to be a lot more of realization that community might not be what it seems that it's been all along. There's been a lot of spiritual leaders that have come out that have actually been predatory and abusive, and people are finally coming to like finding their strength. So it could be finding your inner strength to deal with these things that you've been ignoring about yourself as well as in your community. Or if things have been not sitting right and you've been ignoring all these red flags, it could be a time of action too.
Yeah. Oh, and I can definitely see that, but I sort of just feel like Venus being put in that kind of predicament, she just doesn't feel good there.
No,
it's just really
it's
hard.
Not a loving place.
No, and if you think about like all the air qualities are even gone from Aquarius at this point too. I mean, Mars. I guess Mars is still there, fueling some fire.
Always.
Yeah, it just I feel like that's going to kind of be a smothering energy for the poor girl. And then we have the Aries new moon on the 1st of April, at 2:23 a.m. Eastern at 11 degrees.
This is a very powerful new moon.
I'm going to let you talk about this new moon.
Yeah, the 11th degree of Aries is where we're going to be going to this. And I'm not a degree theory person. I just really love the degrees. Mm-hmm. I love the Sabian symbols mostly. And the Sabian symbol for this is very government-oriented, a leader standing in his own domain. And it's very self-righteous to have an Aries new moon April 1st. So it is April Fool's Day. You might feel the least comical and the least funny you felt, because this is a very call to action and a very straight up, what are you doing for yourself? Is it serving yourself? Is it serving your needs? Is it serving what you have been building? Is it meeting your intentions? Is it lining up inside and out? And the 11 degree too, for me, always represents very Aquarius energy, obviously. And Aquarian energy with a new moon that powerful is calling for a lot of discipline. Oh, and I don't know how many people are ready for discipline this early on in Aries season. Aries do not like discipline until they tell themselves they do. So they're like, this is my discipline that I'm giving myself. Yeah. Sure, but no one else is going to. Aries make up the
rules. Yeah. That's what they do. They make up their own rules for sure.
As ever often as they change.
Well, and what's funny is, so this new moon in Aries is coming along with the Mercury Chiron Sun conjunction at 12 degrees on the next day. Oof. On the 2nd. And so that's what, Aries and Chiron, I talk about Aries and Chiron all the time about being the wounded warrior instead of being the wounded healer. It's more of a warrior stance. So, and we can see it. Everybody's wanting to stand up for themselves. Abusers are being named. Love that. I watched the Evan Rachel Wood documentary this morning and just cried with her. So it was so good. But yeah, this is all about you standing for yourself.
Absolutely.
And again, that's what it's like so hard when we are in Pisces season and we're under all this illusion and we're trying to swim for the shore and we can't find it. And it's because we don't know ourselves. And we come into Aries season and it's like boot camp.
Absolutely.
And it's like, oh, you don't know yourself? Okay.
Welcome. This is who you've turned into this last year.
Yeah.
Because Pisces going out with this, this death and rebirth energy, it happens every year. And some of us are conscious about it. Some of us aren't. The March transitions are always so intense. I mean, I think Julius Caesar can tell you that himself if he were still around. However, the Ides of March was something I was like preaching about for some reason, talking about March going into it. But when we go into the April transits with everything happening after the new moon, it's a call to action, I feel like. Mm-hmm. It's like, what are you going to do? Yeah, you've got these wounds. You've had these mindsets. You've had all these deep ways to reflect and kind of understand why you got here. What next?
Absolutely. Well, and then we have Saturn squaring the nodes immediately after that. So the call to action is absolutely there.
Your destiny is right there. What are you going to do about
it? Right there. And then on Monday the 4th, so just 2 days after we have this Mercury conjunct Chiron conjunct the Sun, and Saturn squaring the nodes, we have Mars conjunct Saturn in Aquarius. So Mars is Aries, warrior, fight, war, massive destruction, anger, aggression, but it's also confidence, and it's also like I love Aries because an Aries energy will be so kind and so loving and so sweet and just give and give and give and give and give until you mess with them, and then literally their head turns into fire and like the entire place explodes. Maybe not that
Can't dramatic. Confirm. No, it's 100% that dramatic, because we even talked about the advantages and the energy that will take advantage of your kindness. And it's like that song, it's 4 or 5 seconds, the Rihanna and Paul McCartney and Kanye song. It's like, all of my kindness is mistaken for weakness. And it's like, I have 4 to 5 seconds before I kill everyone. That's Aries in a nutshell. To the point where I'm like, wow, so other people feel this. What you appreciate about the Aries energy is exactly what I've always tried to embody, is like the really, really kind and like understanding until you push it. Yeah. And that's Mars is not going to take kind of, Mars is also desires and what you want out of this whole.
Yeah.
And you
taking action on things and having motivation and pushing yourself forward. And I mean, Aries is a beautiful cardinal sign, and some of the most motivated people I know have super strong Aries energy in their big three. But that's the thing, is it's not that you just are born with it. It's just as if all the other signs just like a Virgo has to learn how to embody service to themselves as well, right?
Yes.
Aries have to learn how to embody that courage and that confidence and all of that. So we have this Mars energy, which is a malefic energy, and then we have this Saturnian energy in Aquarius. And the funny thing is, like, I love the feeling of Saturn in Aquarius more than I love the feeling of Saturn in Capricorn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was because it was just in my 4th house. Don't necessarily like that he's been pooping all over my dreams, but
like, Saturn and Capricorn,
things got pivoted, things got
house.
shifted and pivoted, and now everything's beautiful. It's been hard, because you've had to, with Saturn, so the biggest difference between Saturn and Neptune is that Saturn helps you build and Neptune kind of takes away from you. I don't know if a kind of is a word, but takes away from you. And Saturn builds. So we have these two malefic energies coming together. They're both powerful energies in Aquarius. And it's really like the only thing I can think about is if somebody has a bonfire and there's just this big gust of wind and the entire neighborhood goes down from just from that one gust of wind. And I feel like that's what it's going to be. And the funny thing is with Aquarius, it's so focused. I'm really curious where that's going to go.
And it could be a choose your own adventure at that point. You can either have the bonfire and have the huge gust of wind, or it goes out completely. Like, where are you going to let it zap all your energy? Are you going to build from it? Are you going to have it set everything on
really
fire?
The Aquarius conundrum.
It's so hard.
Honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. And Aquarius, and my whole view of Aquarians have always been, very robotic and very focused and very like task oriented.
Oh yeah.
And then I meet an Aquarius that's the most fleshy alien type person I've ever met. I'm like, what in that?
Yeah, and they seriously, they're like, they live, like their brains live outside of their bodies.
Yes.
And it's like,
it's incredible.
Insane.
It is so incredible. And if you can harness that for like better structures and and controlling your anger is going to be a huge lesson. And then we have just Aries setting everything on fire no matter what you do. The sun is going to be brightly shining in this entire zodiac sign, because I feel like this is also going to be a time for, during this transit especially, for people to really speak out about what has either been holding them back or what has been keeping them quiet. You might see a lot of like emergence from people that have been dormant for a while. As someone that's kind of hibernated themselves creatively, it's a time to kind of start again. And it could be taming that wildfire for an energy to start something grand and that'll take off on its own. But it's really up to you. Choose your own adventure of what this energy is going to bring to your life.
Yeah, I will say that day people will be targeting the masses, probably. Like, people will be targeting other people in big ways. Just, I always like to give that disclaimer, because we have to remember that not everybody is wanting peace. Some people are just out here to create destruction on purpose.
It's an incredible reminder. Not everybody is seeking the same things that you are.
No, I always have to remind myself of both directions, because, I mean, that's the thing is we think about, oh, wow, this is going to be some really great energy for us to, push forward and get going, and we can do what we want with it, and it's going to be really great. But on the other end of it, there's so many people that just want to crush your dreams and just don't even want to see you thriving. And unfortunately, because it is Aquarius, and that's such a public community sign.
Very internet.
Yeah, very internet. Yeah, very social media. So just kind of like, man, watch the projections. Watch the projections from other people. Watch them from you. A lot of times we're not aware of that.
Yeah. I mean, I've said out loud things that I'm like, you need to be doing this better. And it's clearly something that I need to work on. And being self-aware is an incredible, I guess, superpower during this time too.
Oh, self-awareness. Being super self-aware. Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if you haven't quite yet figured yourself out, Aries season, what's going to happen is you'll get energies surrounding you that are going to bring it out of you. And that's where the frustration goes.
And it could be scary too if you're not used to being an angry person. Or I think anger is a very divine power and tool that you can use to get rid of a lot of emotions. And
I like to call it divine rage.
Yes, divine rage. It's so powerful to feel anger, because when you feel anger and what triggers you, now you know what it is that can take you from happy-go-lucky, smiling to crumbled in a minute. That's a superpower.
Absolutely.
To be that aware.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, for sure. We also have in week 3 of Aries season, Venus goes into Pisces to sweeten things up a little bit on Tuesday. So that's right after that. And I love Venus in Pisces. Now that's where I can get on board with Venus being all sweet and cuddly.
Everybody just being like so happy and like in love with each other.
Yeah.
Which we need that right now.
Yeah. I'm really hoping that there's not too much destruction with that Mars and Saturn, because I think we all deserve to really enjoy Venus in Pisces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I believe that's right around.
That sounds so trivial.
No, that's right around when it goes Gemini to Cancer Moon. So it's like Venus and Pisces, and then Cancer Moon, and then
I know.
Oh
and
my
I
God.
love the Cancer energy with Pisces energy this year. I don't know what it is about it specifically, but I really loved when we were into that Cancer Moon. That was great.
A lot of people were crying, but it's also fun.
I don't know. A lot of people were
crying, but I'm over here Gemini Moon. I can't function when it's like super, super heavy, but
no.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm trying my best.
No, just like we said, this Virgo moon, you're supposed to be neurotic. That's normal.
Yeah,
like if you've been neurotic today and tomorrow, and a little bit on Friday, actually, by the time we wake up, it'll be Libra. So
absolutely,
it'll be like.
But we're starting off Aries season with going from that Libra to Scorpio moon.
I know, right? Yeah, the sun goes into Aries on March 20th. The moon will be in Scorpio. So literally, the most angry individual that you could possibly.
Very Mars.
Not necessarily somebody who will express their anger. Oh, no. They will hold that anger in so tightly.
The best story of a Scorpio moon person that I could ever explain, which is this energy. This guy got cheated on when he was in high school by his high school girlfriend, obviously. And almost 20 years later, not even joking, he starts an affair with this woman who married the guy that she cheated on him with and ruined their marriage. So that's the Scorpio moon energy that I'm just like,
that reminds me of a Friends episode of when Julia Roberts was on and came and messed with Chandler. Anyways,
no.
I'm a huge Friends fan, but
I'm like, yes, Chandler, the one that's very eccentric and not Joey. That's
where you are with
yeah,
Friends.
I'm like,
and we won't have that discussion.
Okay.
So then we have the Jupiter conjunct Neptune in Pisces that third week as well. So we have the Mars conjunct Saturn, Venus goes into Pisces, Jupiter conjunct Neptune, and that's going to go for a couple degrees, 23 and 24 degrees for a while. So the 8th to the 17th of April. And the funny thing is everybody's so excited. And I just want to remind everybody again, because I am the balanced queen, I guess.
You are.
Jupiter has 2 sides of him. And if you have Sagittarius or Pisces energy in your chart, you know those 2 sides very, very well. He can be amazing. He can give you gifts. He can be very abundant. He can be very expansive. He can show you things you've never seen before. And then on the other side, in order to get all of those things, he's going to be like, oh, but you don't need this, and you don't need this, and you don't need this, and you don't need that, and you don't need that. And he's going to shove it all out of the way, whether you like it or not, because that's what you asked for.
He's like a very aggressive Santa Claus. Like, he's going to break into your home and give you things, but he's also taking your cookies and drinking your milk.
Yeah, he's like a reverse Grinch.
Yeah.
It's like a very angry, I don't know. Yeah. Probably looks better than the Grinch, though.
I would say so. Yeah,
I would say so. The way that
they
talk about how Sagittarians are, I would say that Jupiter probably looks better.
Probably. Yeah, I would not say that somebody has some Sagittarius influence, but they have a little bit.
All right. So then we have that wonderful Mercury in Aries squaring Pluto on Sunday, April 10th. And Mercury will be in Taurus that day as well. So Mercury in Aries is going to square Pluto
just on its way out.
Like,
just casual,
just casual pass by, drive by.
It's very much drive by.
Will be a drive by.
It'll be very.
And then Mercury will be in Taurus, and then we'll all just be a little bit more passive when we're aggressive instead.
And when we're hangry, it's gonna be like that's the only time you're really gonna see anger from Mercury and Taurus. You don't feed them or let them sleep. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, basically.
Very stereotypical.
But it's very interesting because the last week, I put week 4.5.
I know.
Aries season.
I'm like, only a Virgo would put like a 4.5 decimal on this. It's like, okay,
seriously,
yes.
4.5 weeks of Aries season. What I love though is we go from the third week in Aries season where we are exploding things and there's air blowing through the explosion to make more things explode.
Everything.
We get into this Pisces. Mars goes into Pisces. We have Mercury in Taurus. We have the Libra full moon.
Mm-hmm.
It just becomes like, you just did that.
I did. And then I'm sitting here thinking in the back of my head, it is right around that time where it's like Aries season's like wrapping up. You're starting to feel that relief. But why? April 19th is the most chaotic world history
Every
date.
single time.
It's just nuts. So it's like, why can't the last degree of Aries ever be peaceful though? Because we do get that break. We get that break to where it's like we can breathe and we do feel relief and we can kind of like, all right, Libra full moon. That's always peaceful, isn't it? And like nice and
it is. It's going to be very wrapped around relationships, as is actually the Aries new moon going to be very wrapped around relationships. But and that's what the beauty of. I love the Aries Libra axis. I mean, how could I not with being a Libra rising?
Yeah.
And the funny thing is it took me so long to love it, and so I absolutely love it. And the reason why I love the Libra Aries axis is because it forces us to look at ourselves so that we can have relationships. Because there's no way that you can have a relationship with anybody that's going to be positive and productive and loving if you don't have a loving relationship with yourself.
Absolutely.
Because you're going to treat everybody else the way that you treat yourself. And if you don't treat yourself very well,
it's not good.
In a ways.
It's not great.
Yeah.
We
but
both,
I mean, like,
you know,
even talking about it in the way of like, if you say, well, I'm always taking myself out and I'm always doing all of these things. And I'm like, so, but that overindulgence, like, where does that get you?
Right. And it being a little too hyper independent, I've spoken from experience. I used to go everywhere by myself. It's not that fun.
Yeah, it really is.
It wears off after a while when you're like, safety.
Yeah.
There's one thing. Whoever thought that getting blackout drunk by yourself and running around in Ubers and hanging out in random after parties was a bad idea?
Is it really?
Who would have thought that?
Who would have thought that?
That's crazy. But no, when you find the partner in crime, even if it is yourself for a while, that makes it beautiful. And then you can attract what you want out of life. But it's like, if you don't know yourself, how are you even going to function? And breaking down of self and breaking down of what you thought was your old self. You can say goodbye to that under the full moon if that's what your intentions are. But the new moon does kind of put a way to
kind of sets the intention.
You set the tone for
and
the whole thing.
And I love that that's what that's what people don't understand. The new moon and the full moon cycle that we go through is so beautiful because we get to set that intention with the new moon.
Absolutely.
And we get these 2 beautiful weeks to be able to look at that intention that we set with the new moon. And if that full moon comes along and you have not done the work, or you have, I don't even want to use it work. I don't want to use that word. I hate using
work. We're very anti-capitalist movement. If you haven't figured out already.
I'm just, it's
burn
because
it all
it's
down.
not work. It's not work though. If you've really shown up for yourself, you've really allowed yourself to look at everything that you're supposed to look at. That Libra full moon can in big ways show you how to balance your relationships that you have with other people, and it's really interesting. This is my 7th house perfection year, so of course you're like an expert at this by now. Of course I'm an expert. It's only been like 6 months of my I've had my half birthday already, so I'm feeling very.
Half birthdays are my favorite.
Half birthdays are amazing.
My real birthday is the day of Skull and Bones, so it's not exactly a very exciting day. But no, the degree for Libra, 26 degrees, is an eagle and a large white dove turning constantly into each other. So it's like, guys, I know that it might not be easy, but there are people, there are resources, and once you find that kind of like inner wounded warrior almost with Chiron also being in Aries, it's like you're always focusing on this energy of coming back to like, where have I not shown up for myself? So that energy of having 2 different times, 2 separate occasions during Aries season to stand up and do better for yourself, that's the way you start your year.
Well, absolutely. And what the best part is because Saturn does want the community so much. That's where we start. You have to, and that's the thing is, if you're going into wanting to be in a community for what the community can do for you, instead of going into the community saying, this is what I want to offer to the community, there's no way.
Absolutely.
And most people who don't know who they are, most people who don't have direction and don't understand what it takes to have that kind of relationship with other people, are just going to be like, well, let's just do it the capitalist way, because...
And you kind of get put into that role if you show up to a community empty-handed. Like, you show up and you don't have the same set of skills. Well, then that's when you sit and you learn from community, and you sit and you learn and you absorb, and that's your role in that community. But there might be things that you're an expert in, and you can go and, be an expert in that area. But it's like, if people come into the spiritual community, like, I've been to church, I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, exactly.
Like, that's not going to be the same energy.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel so strongly that it's important to be able to offer something. And it's like, if you don't have that mutual or even equal level of, I want to be here to learn and someone's here to teach, and you have that give and exchange kind of thing, that's so important for Aries too, to understand that they can't always just be the one talking and making the moves and leading everything. Sometimes the biggest Aries lesson is to learn from the Libra and side and be like, what can I also sit back and balance in my life from this?
Yeah, for sure. We were talking earlier about just the, in the balance of life and learning, like, I've been having to learn how to relax into what is relaxing.
Relaxing sounds overrated.
If anybody has seen my stacked Virgo house, can you please call her and tell her to come home?
I'm renovating that one. Yeah, it's fine. Like, my fourth house is just literally renovating.
Yeah. So, no, and it's very interesting to have to learn the balance of that. And going into, as we will move into Taurus season, we'll be hitting the North Node, of course, and that Taurus energy. I mean, moving in there, Mercury is going to be the first one there,
right?
It's so interesting where we went from the information highway with Gemini and Sagittarius to just this. It's
like a personal information highway now.
It is. It's not. I don't know. It still doesn't really feel like it's just right. Things are happening just right. It feels like it's more secretive in a way.
Absolutely.
It feels like there are things that we're not privy to. I hate to say it, but I've been kind of proven right by some people.
I love to say it.
She's
been proven right.
I've been proven wrong by some people, actually. That, we had a lot of information at one point with everything that was going on. It might not have been all the correct information, but we did have a lot of information, and now there's just nothing.
All the information is so hidden.
But that's the thing, though. Do you see that?
Absolutely.
Like a little. And it's not even hidden. It's right there, but it's very just glossed, like fluffied over.
It's also what you choose to focus on. And if you want to go to the depths with the things that are right in front of your face and see what exactly you've been missing all this time, that's a really great Scorpio South Node energy.
I know.
That you can go to those, like,
but it's really deep,
hieratic investigator. And it's like, yes, I would like to investigate everything that happened, but it's going to be 800 years ago, and I'm going to have no living people to talk to about this.
Right.
So you have to draw your own conclusions, but that's not the case for us now. We can clearly have living people that can tell what actually happened. It's Scorpio South Node energy is like what reminds me of, like, when the JFK assassination papers from the CIA were released. It's like, oh, so we have all this information now. What are you going to do with it? And so even if we did have all the answers and things right in front of our faces, some people would still be like, I don't know what's actually going on. I wish I could see the actual.
But that's what I feel like the Taurus North Node is doing. I feel like that's what I feel like that's what the cloud is. Because it's not that I necessarily, I mean, obviously Taurians are very intelligent humans, and Taurians are very hardworking, and I mean, like, I could go on there.
They speak in money, so
they really do speak in money and beauty. Like, oh my goodness, money and beauty. The Taurus energy is amazing, and obviously we need it. I just feel like it's just so passive. Like, everything is so incredibly passive, and that scares me more than knowing all the information.
Right.
I think
having people that
More
are just
than
kind of like,
anything.
hey, that's nice. Like, but that's what I feel like, our government is, a bunch of figureheads that
Yeah.
just sit there. So
Yeah.
we don't actually know what's going on below the surface until we break through that like superficialness, I feel like, that Taurus can bring.
Yeah. I don't think that Aries season is going to be the kind of Hunger Games where we're all fending for our own selves.
Right.
I do feel like it'll be, that Saturn in Aquarius is bringing people together. Like, it seems to me that more people are recognizing, oh, wow, I really do need to have a tribe, or I really do.
Yeah.
I can't just wander this life alone and think that it's okay.
You can.
It's not fun. And
No.
we're not meant, we're
humans have
social creatures.
Huge.
We chose to have this human experience. Like, that's what we're gonna do.
Absolutely.
So I'm very interested to see how, because I do feel like the beginning of Aries season is going to be this massive explosion of energy that nobody's ready for, because Pisces season,
ready for it.
like, literally, I think I slept for the first 2 weeks of Pisces season.
Good. It's
and
good
then,
for you to rest. Just saying. That's terrible. So much sleep. Jeez.
Straight. Dude. Just 2 weeks straight.
Yeah.
That was my hibernation period.
It's a good time.
But yeah, and it's just been a little bit. I say it every year. I think that Pisces season is just a little bit more delusional than the last year.
Yeah, and I had no idea until I discovered astrology that I had so much Pisces energy laying around, and I'm like, this explains so much. A Pisces MC is like knowing that you're really talented and having all these gifts and not having any idea how to like actually harness and channel that. So you have to hang out with a Virgo because they're the only people that can tell you, like, you have gifts, use them.
I gave her the 4.5.
Literally gave me the 4.5 so I could remember there's still more. It's like, it's a Billy Mays thing. I'm just like, oh God, there's more this season. But you really, like, the way that you have this ability to break down what we're expecting is because you can see these little things and you can see them, and you have examples of how it's worked in your life or how these energies have shown up in your life. And that's what astrology is all about. You have to be an anthropologist. You have to be a historian. You have to pay attention to patterns. We might seem like we're always living in a time loop, but it's like, we might be a month ahead here. We're 3 months behind here.
Yeah.
I mean, the other day I looked at a chart during 2012 Gemini Venus retrograde, and it explained my whole life. And it felt so healing.
I did that too.
And I think
it was, oh man, what was the date? I don't remember the date that I looked at, but it said so much to me, and I was just like, wow, man, that just speaks volumes.
And you can look back at it.
Actually, it was, I was looking when Neptune went into Pisces in 2012, what day it was, because I ended up in the mental hospital that first week that Pisces was in my sixth transit. In my sixth house. Yeah. Neptune and Pisces in the sixth house. Yeah. So since 2012, that's been kind of like one of those things that I've had to work with, is all of that. So that's how Neptune takes things away. And that's what I'm like, man, Neptune and Aries, we're going to have to do a show about that.
Absolutely. Jupiter goes into Aries too. I'm just like, is the world going to survive all this? Like, but it is. And that's the thing that I think that we can all agree on, that we have every single zodiac sign in our charts. Yeah. We all have these energies. We all have these abilities to harness them, or, drown in them. And I feel like that's what Aries season is going to give you a preview of, like, all right, look at that area of your life and really freaking hold on.
Yeah. We are so appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I really enjoyed myself.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. It's incredible.
We're going to survive Aries season. It's going to be really great. And have a great Aries season. Bye. She stays.